Hey, good people. Grits or cream of wheat? Who the hell is racist? Does anyone ever ask could they touch your hair?
Black Like Me.
You're listening to Black Like Me with Dr. Alex Gee, a podcast that invites you to experience the world through the perspective of one black man, one conversation, one story, or even one rant at a time. Here's Dr. Gee.
Black Like Me.
Hey, everybody. I want to update you on just a few things. Right now, I'm part of a big caravan of 250 black folks who are in Washington, D.C., and we're headed to Dulles Airport to fly to Ghana, West Africa. This is the 400th anniversary of the beginning of the transatlantic slave trade, and we're going back to the motherland to celebrate and draw from the resilience of ancient Western Africans. I'm excited about this. I'm traveling with my family, and it's going to be amazing. To the best of my ability, I'm going to do some Facebook Live posts and some snippets of things I'm experiencing while I'm there. So please stay tuned and follow me on social media. Second thing is we have a new Patreon supporter, and her name is Gina Moronic. Gina, I want to thank you for your support. I can't wait to connect with you, and thank you so much for joining our Patreon family. It helps me to continue to bring quality programming to you. Lastly, I want to introduce this exciting segment. I don't know how regularly I'm going to do it, but I'm calling it Blackout. But it's when I invite black peers into the studio, and we just talk about everything from religion to politics to theories of conspiracy to childhood, you name it. But we just really talk out of a place of a long-standing relationship. Oh, last thing, whoever reached out to friends and family in West Virginia, someone downloaded the podcast. Black Like Me is now in all 50 states. Thank you very much. Hey, enjoy this interview. Holler back at me. Let me know what you think about it. Let me know what you're enjoying about the podcast. Don't forget, you can do that through social media, through Twitter and through Facebook. Let your friends know about what's going on. And please follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter and Facebook as I journey through Ghana for the next week. Take care. Enjoy this broadcast. Welcome back to another exciting, a crazy episode of Black Like Me with Dr. Alex Gee. Now tonight is crazy. I got some crazy people in the studio, and I'm trying out a segment that's called Blackout, where I invite black people. Here starting already. I'm inviting black people into the studio to just talk about life. Listen, I've got folks in here who probably know me better than anybody else in the world. My sister Lilada is in here. David Smith is trying to mess with me. My sister Lilada is here in the studio. How you doing, Lilada?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm good. And I'm also here with my friend David Smith. David, how you doing?
I'm good.
All right, so listen. David and I are almost 56. I think we met when we were 7 years old. And so we've been friends for almost 50 years because we met around third grade on the Midvale Baptist Church. Happy Bus.
The Happy Bus.
Going over there to church, and I loaned Lilada her entire life. And so listen, y'all, we have spent the last 50 years.
Don't say how old I am.
No, honey. We've spent like so many years just laughing. In fact, if you hear us coughing or choking a little bit, it's because David's been talking about something that he experienced recently on a road trip.
Bless his heart.
And so we're glad that it worked out well, David. We're glad that you lived to tell about it.
My God.
But I'm always taking on an issue, or I have a guest who's written a book or has established themselves around some topic. But there's also there's a part of me that just likes to have a free flow of talking about ideas and laughing and talking with people whose intellect and whose heart and integrity I trust. And so I'm really glad to have folks on here. Lilada is a podcast host. She's a radio host. She's an author. She's a lobbyist. She's a consultant. She's an ordained pastor. She's a mom. She's an artist. She does a whole lot of things. And tonight we're going to be talking to her just about life. Professional dancer. Oh, definitely. Yeah, that's at night. And then David is a Renaissance man.
My list is smaller.
David's a pastor. He's a family counselor. He's a dad. He's a husband.
A social community innovator.
Yes. David Smith coined the phrase in Madison, the community is my parish.
Yeah.
He is a songwriter. He is a musician extraordinaire. and probably one of the funniest people I know. I've known David just as long or longer than most of my first cousins. We go way, way back. Actually, Lilada, David, and I started preaching as teenagers. And there's no one in Madison who's done ministry in Madison longer than the three of us.
Right.
Wow. We're the three most tenured clergy folks.
I thought you were going to say the Three Musketeers.
No, but the three
That
most.
too.
So I'm just really glad that they are here. Let me just tell you one other thing. Before we get into my black icebreakers, because I need to talk to them about this, is that when we were kids, David was my best friend. But when he would get around my sister Lilada, they would leave me out.
Oh, my God.
They would laugh. They would skip classes together.
Well,
and they would
true.
laugh at me. So if you hear me sort of take the reins on this show, it's because I'm having a flashback.
Oh, my.
And if you hear them just talking about me like I'm not freaking sitting here, then they're having a flashback. But we're gonna have some fun here tonight. So listen, let me just start. I've got some black icebreakers. Is that all right?
Oh, yes.
That's all right.
All right. Here we go. Let me
Black
just
ice.
see. Come on now. David, what day of the week did Soul Train come on?
Let me Google it.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Friday?
I thought you looked at me because you thought it was a dumb answer.
No.
Oh, really? Oh, Soul Train had a special day for coming on. Do you know Lilada?
Saturday.
Come on, Saturday. That's right. David's from Madison.
Oh.
Let me see. Let me see what. No. Let me see. Let me see what else. Lilada, do you know what the term tenderheaded?
Oh,
Man.
yes, I do.
Okay. All right.
And you were.
So was I.
David, you were tenderheaded. Mm-hmm. All right. The girls loved David because he had red, sandy. Was it red? Sandy hair, kind of greenish eyes. They were contacts, right?
No, they were not contact.
So were you tender-headed that time when your hair was in those pink rollers?
You know what? I what? No, I grew out of it then.
Because actually, one of my questions, at least in my next question, David, have you ever had a perm?
Yes,
a
I
very
have.
curled or a process?
Yeah, I had all of them.
You had all of them.
God.
'Cause I remember in 8th grade, you had gotten into a fight, so you had a scar on your eye.
I looked tough.
And then you had your hair. You looked like a junior Ron O'Neal. You looked like junior Superfly. You were like
My
an
God.
8th grade
I was
pimp.
tough. Yes, I was. Yeah.
And then remember at the 8th grade graduation party, you were smoking a cigar?
Who?
You remember in 8th grade? You
I
were
Probably
was.
was a blunt.
It was gum. It was those cigar gum.
That was not a cigar gum. That thing was lit.
Wait a minute, you had a Jerry curl?
Yeah.
No.
I had a
I
Jerry-
been a perm. I mean, you had
I
a
had,
press, like a straightening comb.
I had that too.
Oh,
and then I had, curls too with that's why I was wearing the curlers,
Oh my goodness.
pink curlers.
Well,
That
listen,
was before the
Those
Jerry
things are
curl.
hard to sleep on,
Yes,
David,
yes, I do know.
I wouldn't know. Well,
Yes, I
did
do
you,
know.
did you use a washcloth when in the tub or the shower?
Wow.
What's
That's a washcloth.
Oh, or some type of sponge or something like that. There's a rumor out there that black people use washcloths and white people don't.
Oh, that's where you're going.
Oh.
That we were
Yeah.
taught to use towels and in showers and stuff like
What
that.
did they use?
Or some type of
Did they use their hand?
yeah.
Okay. Well,
I mean,
gets it clean,
Huh?
you
It is
know?
clean. It is clean. It is, except unless you got to use the bar next. It's like, hey, here's this bar of soap.
Oh my God. Next question.
Next question.
kind of like these
That's
microphones.
the question we asked. That's the question we asked on here. Oh my gosh, you must have missed that at the
missed that question.
oh my gosh, what was that? The genealogy party.
Yes,
where
I
we
did.
That's a whole discussion on dear black people.
Wow.
Because they're like, hey man, just one question. You do use a washcloth? He goes, man, I use a scrunchie. I'm not uncivil. Like, goes, all right. Then they give each other dap because when they integrate the dorms, they're like, dude, the white dudes don't use towels. They just use the soap.
They just go at it.
Just go.
Wow.
Just go at it.
No, I don't do that.
Oh my goodness. All right, Lilada. When food is so good, there's a saying that'll make you do what to your mama?
Slap your mama.
Oh my goodness. David, now growing up, either we chose not to or we just didn't. But like a lot of black kids didn't use the word fart. What word did we use to describe flatulence?
Poot.
Lilada, what's your answer?
Same.
Do people? I don't think I should. Do your children say poot?
No.
Eli, do white people poot?
Sometimes.
I don't think I've heard that. My kids are definitely in that phase, but they don't use that word.
They don't use that word. Wow.
That's right, because they're like, oh, who pooted? Like, like someone, like we wouldn't say who farted. In fact,
Wow.
that was considered vulgar.
I got that nickname in drum corps
That's because you always say who pooted.
because I would say who pooted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because you
And
were
they-
allowed to say like who
They
farted.
started
Like,
calling me
who
pooted. I was like,
People will say toot, but no, it was poot.
hilarious.
oh, no, that's,
Hilarious.
toot is
Different,
That's a
but
white
poot,
name.
you gotta put that poot in it. All right,
Who
all right.
tooted?
Okay, I'll ask both of you this. As kids, we didn't refer to fireflies as fireflies. Do you remember what black kids call fireflies?
Lightning bugs.
We call them Eli. You grew up in Iowa. You had a lot of. Did you use lightning bugs also?
I think we use lightning bugs.
Is that a
Yeah.
Midwestern thing then?
I must
Maybe.
be. Well, yeah, because we used to call them down in Mississippi when we catch them. We call them lightning bugs.
You would call them lightning bugs?
Mhm.
Oh, my goodness. Let me see. Man, I think that's it. That's fun. David, I haven't asked you this in a while. Do you eat grits?
Oh yeah,
Butter and sugar? Or-
butter. I don't. I used to eat with sugar, not anymore. Tracy got me off the sugar and grits.
So you don't just, do you still put your eggs in it?
But you put salt and
Yeah.
pepper on it instead
Yep.
now?
Salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper,
My God.
When you're eating it for
and
breakfast?
sometimes cheese.
Okay, I heard about cheese. Okay.
Oh yeah,
What a
All
shame.
right.
and shrimp and grits. Oh yeah.
That is good.
Lilada, what was your mama's favorite story?
I don't know.
I mean, a television story.
Oh, all my
Soap
children?
opera.
It was All My Children because older black ladies would not call it soap operas.
Right, they call them
Because
stories.
in college, my
Stories.
white friends would call it soaps.
Yeah.
They go, I get home and watch the soaps. But,
Yeah.
But older black people, David, did your mom call
She
them
called it
stories?
stories.
What was your
Yeah.
mom's favorite story? Was she in ABC? Because you could tell, because if you watch ABC, you watch all of them.
Right.
She would watch Young and the Restless
That's
on channel on CBS.
It came on
Then
at 11.
and then she would go to ABC and
To
watch All My Children,
Yeah.
One Life to
12,
Live,
1 o'clock.
and General Hospital.
Okay, what's the one that came on
But
after
she also
General
used to watch
Hospital?
Search for Tomorrow, Edge of Night, all those
Oh,
old
dang.
ones.
She would watch all of those?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the late one that came on ABC that came on after All My Children? I mean, came on after
General
Hospital?
No.
Dark Shadows,
Edge of
Edge of Night?
Night.
Edge of Night. That's the one.
That
she
young
said.
lady from
Lori Lockley?
yeah, the one who's being accused of paying to get her daughter in
Right.
the UFC.
Oh, she did it.
Yeah. She played on that. All right. Well, listen. No, you all. Thank you for playing this. I love hearing this. So listen, you all. Tonight we're not taking on just one topic. We're just gonna do just rapid response. I'm just gonna throw out a topic, and I just want David and Lilada just to talk about these things. It's raw. I just want to know their perspective. All right, these two, Felicity and Lori, these ladies that are paying for their kids to get in college. All this cheating about getting in college. Your thoughts about that? I know we've been talked about. Are they going to jail?
They suggest that they're going to go to jail because there have been black women who have gone to prison because they've used like their mother's address just for their kids to go to a better elementary school.
And they put them in jail?
Yes, they went to prison, federal prison.
For doing that?
Because it's considered, what do you call it when it comes to the mail?
Fraud.
Oh,
Mail
federal fraud or
Mail fraud.
Mail
Yeah, mail
fraud.
fraud.
And so it becomes a federal crime.
So you think they think you're suggesting? Dave, what do you think? You think they're going to jail?
I wonder if if the story is true about them women actually going to prison for that, because that seems
Yes, it is true.
far out.
It is true.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a couple of stories where I think one was down in Florida where this mother used her friend or her mother's address and they found it out and she had to serve like 3 years, I think.
Wow. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get away somehow,
slap
get
them on
out
the
of it.
wrist.
Yeah, they're not going to go to prison. I don't think.
I think Lori's going to have more of a chance not to go, or maybe she's going to have more of a chance to go because Felicity at least
Admit it.
admitted it. And I think I thought
Lori's
she was
still
like
driving
4
around
months.
in a
Limo.
limousine and stuff, and
Hell
like she
fuck.
going out waving at people like
Right.
she,
signing autographs.
Yes,
I
yeah.
think it's pitiful because I think if you are rich and famous and have access for your kids to tutors in the best schools, then either your kids are really pitiful and stupid, that wasn't enough advantage, that with all the money and all of that, they still couldn't qualify to go to a decent college, then there's probably a different issue with those children.
And then you see, was that Lori's daughter talking about, she's not interested in school
Yeah.
and all of this. She's doing this FaceTime stuff, and
'Cause she
talking
doesn't
about,
wanna
I don't
be
even
bullied.
go. I don't
She's
even go to
Instagram
school,
famous.
and yeah, I don't even go to school, and just they don't appreciate,
Right.
how black kids and other kids are working hard
Right.
to try to get in, and then the parents are working hard to try to, afford to send them to school and going into debt, financial aid, and all that,
Right.
all that kind of stuff. And
It just shows greed.
granted.
It's the epitome of privilege and greed. Like it's not enough. I need this too to feel valid.
So you said the daughter Lilada is Instagram famous.
She's Instagram famous.
So that means she's getting money from Instagram.
right. Oh, she got cut though. A lot of her her endorsements,
Got
sponsors got cut after this came out. But as David was saying, she was saying on Instagram, I don't even want to go to school. That's really my mom and my dad who's really pushing that. She wanted to do her Instagram stuff, and she would have been better off keeping up with that.
I got you. R. Kelly and Epstein are in the news. So, R. Kelly's kind of like OJ. It's like he, kind of dodged a bullet or something and ended up stealing his own memorabilia back or paraphernalia back, whatever, and went to... So
Can I say something about that for a quick second?
Sure.
What a lot of people don't realize is that those two cases were actually connected. The murder case was actually connected to the memorabilia, because what ended up happening was, after he was adjudicated in the civil
You're talking
court...
about OJ.
Right.
After he was adjudicated in the civil case, he was hiding his goods because he didn't want his goods to be taken, and that's how his memorabilia got in the hands of these other people who were supposed to be friends, who were supposed to be holding it for him. So then he went to go get it, and so people don't know those cases really are connected.
It's kind of like Jerry Falwell telling Jimmy Baker, "Let me hold on to your assets while you go through through court."
Exactly.
And then, what do you mean?
So it's kind of sweet desserts justice in a way, because
got you. So R. Kelly, any thought about that? Now, are they just upset now because it's they're finding evidence of underage children? You mean does America really care that he's been
with R. Kelly?
Yeah. Well,
my whole thing is this whole movement of mute R. Kelly, right? And I'm thinking, what does that mean? So we won't listen to his music, and I get that. But nobody's muting Michael Jackson, with all the allegations that he had about, sexual inappropriateness. So
has Oprah even muted Harvey Weinstein?
No, that was her friend, and so is Trump. So I think it's just kind of interesting because on one hand, I get it, because a lot of R. Kelly's songs were actually singing about the things he was doing young people, as opposed to Michael Jackson. In his songs, kind of talking about it. But it just seemed like a social media thing because, fuck R. Kelly, mute your uncle, mute your grandfather that's molesting your child, mute the coach in your community. So it's not impressive to me that these people are collectively coming against these high-powered, public people when we have these pedophiles in our own families and communities and churches, and people aren't saying a thing.
Yeah. The views of today's guests are not necessarily those of Black Like Me podcast. Okay. We're going to say, David, no, and I hear you. I like that passion.
R. Kelly, I was listening to this story, and they were talking about R. Kelly can't even read and write. Did you hear that?
I heard some mess like that.
He said he can't even read and write, and
you trying to make us feel sorry for him?
I'm thinking this guy writes all the. He's written some beautiful songs.
He has.
He has.
I believe
he didn't write them though. He created them. He didn't write them down.
Right.
I don't know.
With crayon, he probably. I don't
Can
know.
he spell fly?
That sounds like a lie that he can't write.
Can he spell fly?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But
he could unzip his fly.
Okay.
Wow.
That hit me there. Huh?
Wow.
This is blackout.
But yeah, I think this is the time, where it's going to really show where America is with Epstein and R. Kelly both going through these. One is rich beyond imagination. The other is R. Kelly's broke, and I think
to speak.
Yeah, well, he's broke.
So they say.
Yeah,
I never trust a rich person, one who was once rich, when they say they're broke. Because a lot of times they have assets hidden in various places. So he says he's broke.
Well, to them, that might be broke.
Do you think wealth plays into that, David, or do you think it might be race playing into how Epstein is treated compared to
I think it's
R.
both.
Kelly?
I think it's wealth and race. He has billion. He's a billionaire.
Sure.
And I think that it's obvious that there's a lot of other famous people connected with this. So that's going to take another level of them trying to clear some people, like, the president, the former president, Clinton, all of them who've had some kind of connection with Epstein.
They better look at that Pizzagate again.
Yeah. So some ugly stuff. Some ugly stuff is going to come out of there.
Yeah, some ugly stuff almost came out at Walmart
Right.
a couple weeks ago, didn't
Right.
it?
My God. But it's interesting. Now, you know how I am with my conspiracy theories.
Yes, I do.
Right. But it's interesting
Come on,
now
conspire.
how Epstein is coming up now, and we're seeing that he was part of this pedophile ring. Right?
Yep.
And now his connection to Bill Clinton.
Yep.
And if you connected to Bill Clinton, you connected to Hillary Clinton. And now we want to dig a little deeper about this Pizzagate, where it was this fictitious child sexual ring that she was supposed to be involved in. I'm just saying.
Conspiracy.
Truth is stranger than fiction. Now it's interesting. So now we done came all the way back around the circle, and now we found her husband was in tight with this pedophile.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Well, you know, just watch who you associate yourself with, who you get connected with.
And the question is, do you know some of this stuff? That's really that's really part of what it is too.
Yeah.
Except, and that's true because you can't necessarily know everything that
Sure.
a friend or associate is doing. But the interesting thing is that we know at this point that Trump, that Clinton, that Epstein are all sexual predators on some kind of level.
Some level. Yep.
On some kind of level. And it's just interesting that these three men in
that's true.
particular are tied some kind of way. And what I know, just having this seen the world, is that even if your particular perversion isn't what another person's perversion is, because you don't want to be called out on yours,
They'll cover for each other.
oftentimes you'll cover for each other.
That's
You know?
interesting.
So
No. Listen, let me ask you this. In the media, we just saw that Trump was, what was it? He was condemned for making racist statements. What does that mean? Like, what is he going to go to the principal's office? Like, what does that mean? Like, we say this like it's a big thing. Do you have any thoughts about what does it mean that a president's that his statements are condemned, or is this just nothing?
In our language, we say he was rebuked for for what he did, what he said.
Satan, the Lord rebuke you.
Exactly. And you know, it goes down in historical records, you know,
Okay.
that his statements were racist. Not that he was a racist, but that his statements were.
But I don't get, because isn't he going down in history? He talked about how you grab
But
women.
no,
I mean,
it's
going down.
who rebukes you. Now, the View, Fox News, whatever can rebuke you and say this or that about it, but it's because of it came through an official governmental
got you.
entity.
It carries different
so
weight.
it carries different weight.
Is it going to change him? Is he going to start watching what he's saying?
No.
So they
It's
need to
gonna
keep-
it's gonna fuel him even more.
Mm-hmm.
He's the kind of man that when you fight back, he comes back harder.
Mm-hmm.
When you resist him, when you go against him, he comes back more fierce.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. The only I think Trump's only way he's going to get we're going to get his attention is when his money is being messed with.
Mm-hmm.
His money and his real estate and all of that. Once that starts and his kids, his children. Once things start coming in on them,
well,
then he's going to
Ivanka,
get his attention.
I don't know how you feel about them boys.
Oh, them boy, yeah,
and he don't like that other girl.
Well, we don't even hear her.
Well, he don't like her too much.
No, but Eric and Don Jr.
Don Jr., I don't know about Eric.
Yeah,
He's
well,
odd
Eric
looking.
and the other one you don't hear much about.
Eric is odd
It's
looking. What did they find, Eric? He don't look
It's
like
like
none of
Ivanka.
them.
Would you go out on a date with Eric for $5,000?
No.
5,000.
$50,000?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Leave his butt
Yes,
at the
I would.
restaurant.
I would kiss those buck teeth because his teeth be talking to each other
when
he's talking.
You know, there's a lot of talk that Trump is licensing all this stuff. This is what I'm hearing a lot from my white friends. Like, oh, that Trump, he's licensing stuff. Is he really licensing stuff?
Yeah.
Or is he,
Yeah.
licensing certain kinds of
He's
behavior?
getting the copyright and stuff like that. Well, I don't know.
Or what I mean is he really?
Oh, look at me.
No, I don't mean licensing.
Authorizing, giving
Is
them-
he really authorizing it, or is Trump really helping to throw fuel on a fire that's already there? I feel a lot of people focusing on him. Like once he's gone, America does not have a race problem.
Oh, no.
Is he just the spokesperson for a lot of the ugliness that's happening in terms of racial tension? And he's getting off because people are blaming it on him and letting all his friends and counterparts just get away.
He's exposing it, but in a way that people are relieved and are happy because someone is finally saying what they feel
What they've been thinking.
and what they've been thinking.
Sure.
And it's and he's enjoying it because he's like, well, can't nobody do anything to me. You know,
And he's proven
I'm
that
the
to be
sitting
true.
president, and you know I can't be charged. You know, what did he say? He can go in and
Central Park, Central
somewhere
Square,
and shoot
Times
somebody.
Square.
Times Square.
Shoot somebody and pardon himself.
No, he said that before he was elected. He said I could go in Central, someplace in New York, and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any supporters.
So if he thought that then,
Right.
before he was
Imagine what he
elected,
thinks
imagine
now.
what he thinks now
Right.
that he's the sitting president.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Trump. He bothers me, but he doesn't bother me as much of those who are being complicit through their silence.
Sure.
He bothers me.
Yeah.
He bothers me.
He bothers you.
But see, this is the thing. But you know what? This is the thing, right? Being an intuitive person, I don't like people having a false face. So the one thing I appreciate about Trump is that you see whatever he's thinking comes through his mouth.
Or his thumbs.
Right. And so I appreciate the fact that I feel like he's being really authentic into who he is. What bothers me is Pence and Lindsey Graham and all these other Christian, quote unquote, people these evangelical politicians who are not coming out against the stuff. That's what bothers me. But it's interesting, though, because I saw a picture of Pence and he went to a detention center recently, and I saw him, and he's trying to kind of look cool, but I could see the horror
He's bothered by it. Yeah.
behind his
Yeah.
face, and I said, Lord,
I saw it too.
touch his heart. I said, because he tried to act like, yeah, this is fine, but I saw his eyes,
Yeah.
and I said, Lord, if you will please touch his spirit, because that's what bothers me. It bothers me so much to the point that, honest to God, it is really hard for me to refer to myself as a Christian anymore. Because if that's Christianity and that is sanctioned by the church by so many, I'm not that.
I'm not a part of that, right?
And I can't be a part of that. And
At some point,
it's extremely disturbing.
they've confused nationalism and faith.
Yes, I agree.
And because
I
if you see something in his eyes, and you're right, we're intuitive people, then I think the Holy Spirit is pricking his heart. And if you're going to what use the old King James, quench the spirit for your political purposes or for your political aspirations or your sense of entitlement or nationalism, that's scary, because you show the authority of truth in your life, and you also
Right.
show your aspirations.
Because God is not your most high, your political party is.
Yeah. I mean, you don't hear Franklin Graham.
Don't say his name on my show.
Oh, excuse me. You don't hear
Just come
Billy
F
Graham's
you.
son.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming out and speaking against these things that Trump is
Right.
saying.
He endorses them,
Right.
I would imagine.
Right.
So these
And what about that one?
that's what you
that
call
one girl?
Christian Paula White.
Paula White.
Oh yeah.
Paula Heifer
Can we say
White.
her name on your TV?
Heifer.
On your
Don't
show?
do not say her name.
Oh,
Reverend
my goodness.
Heifer.
I'm talking about if you don't support Trump.
We got to put an explicit.
What was her saying? She said anybody that
Some kind of
doesn't
curse.
support
Don't
Trump,
Trump.
is not a Christian or something like that.
Wait. She said what?
Paula White.
Lilada, what'd you call her?
Who took over?
Heifer.
Wait, she
Reverend
gonna
Heifer.
wear $1,700 stilettos in the pulpit to preach the
Who
gospel?
took
and
over
gonna
a
put
black?
a curse
Who
on
took over a
somebody?
black church?
Right.
On which she?
Right, which
And
black people,
was she on the
black
board of that
people,
church?
She was on the board.
black like me, stop following behind people that don't follow behind you. First of all,
That's right.
I had to leave Paula White alone. I used to like her. To every time in the morning, I would wake up early morning and watch her on TV, and I liked the way she preached the word. You know what I'm saying? But when that heifer kept asking me for money and saying that I won't get no blessing unless I send her some money, I said, Satan, the Lord rebuke you, because that is devil not today,
There's so
not in
many
my
of 'em.
wallet.
That's
No.
right. Particularly since you were probably preaching when she was still trying to decide
Right.
what she wanted.
Right.
Exactly.
What my blessing got to do with you?
I'm
And if
telling
I
you.
send you some money,
I don't like when
You
people
a
try
lie.
to turn stuff around. I don't like it. People
no,
trying to tell
no.
me sometimes you just need to focus more on the gospel, Alex, and not do all this social stuff. I said, wait a minute. I've been preaching almost 40 years. I was commit myself to God when y'all was jerking off to Farrah Fawcett.
my
perfumes.
God,
And then you're gonna try to talk to
y'all
me.
thought I was bad.
You gonna try to?
I said,
you gonna try
fuck.
to talk to me
Did y'all just
about
hear what he
faithfulness?
said?
I've been knowing this longer than I'm not been knowing it. Don't
My
call my
God.
faith into question. I'm
Right.
not doing stuff the way you want to do.
Ow!
Yeah, they do. Okay.
Ta-ta.
Well, come on here. Let me see what else I want to. What else I want to
Ooh,
talk
what else
about?
do you wanna talk
Let me see. Well, let's
about?
come out of politics
My
for just a minute.
Just a minute. Huh?
Is it harder to be okay? So one thing that's really interesting, Black Like Me podcast family, is that David was born here in Madison.
I was.
We moved here when Lilada was 4 and I was 6, so
You
we're
did.
considered lifelong Madisonians. Is it different being Black in Madison today than it was for us almost 50 years ago?
Yes.
It is. It's different for your children now,
Yes.
David, than it was for you. How so?
They don't have community. They don't have community. They don't have neighborhoods. Now it's, and when I say neighborhoods, meaning families knew each other, kids hung out together. They could go over to someone's house and you wouldn't have to worry about,
Right.
just
You
a
could be
lot of
safe,
things.
right.
Yeah. So
Let
it
me ask you
was.
about that, David.
It was.
Do you see it differently for your sons and your daughters? Because I do. I
I mean,
feel
it's
like,
between sons and daughters.
right, because like Christian, my son who doesn't live here,
Mm-hmm.
he can come back to town and he's going to hang at this house and that house with this friend and this friend. I don't see that as much with Alexandra.
Because she
in terms-
stays here constantly. Is that why? Or because she's
I
a
don't
female?
know. I don't
Her community
know.
left. Some of her friends she grew
Some
up
of her
with
friends
left
left,
Madison to
but
go
I
to
just
school.
wonder if young men
Yeah.
entered the community a little bit differently.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they think different. They do different. Females, relationship wise is a lot harder
Yeah.
than males. I mean, a lot of things that females trip over and stay tripping over. The males, it's like, the next time you see a man, we like forgot about it.
Yeah, because I think I knew more of Christian's friends and some of their parents, but definitely knew more of his friends, had more of his friends' phone numbers in my phone than I did of Alexandra. And even when he moved out west, I knew
Yeah.
his friends.
Yeah, it for me, and sometimes I think back on it and I said, maybe we made a big mistake. Maybe
I was about
we
to
were
ask
just
you this.
we were just too overprotective of our kids and didn't let them, experience like I did when I was a kid. But the things that kids see when they go over people's houses and stuff that's being done, and there may be some regret that they didn't get a chance to experience some of the things, but it's a different Madison. It's a different South Madison is not the same. It's more transient than it used to be. There's housing ownership, single family housing and things like that, but even that is more transient than it's ever been. We were growing up, the Black families in the South Side we didn't even know we were poor
Because
until
our families are homeowners.
until the schools told us.
Right.
Because we had a house. Our parents had a house.
Right. Do you get hot lunch?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
They try when our kids look.
Come on, tell the
when
truth.
we went to when we took our kids to Country View. This is the Verona area school district, Lil. They forced us to fill out the free and reduced hot lunch application.
How'd they force you?
They sent it through. They forced us to get on it because we kept saying we're both working. We both have jobs.
No black people.
But fill it out. Just fill it out. It's always good to fill it out.
We have college degrees and we own 2 homes.
just in
Okay.
case. Just in case.
But David filled
But
this
why?
out.
But why
He and his
though?
wife have degrees and they own 2
But
homes.
no.
well, the schools get credit for all of that.
Come on now.
Yeah,
It's about money.
The more you get on that list, the more
Yes.
allocation of monies from
So-
the federal that you get.
Exactly. So it's
Right.
less of really about what they thought of you and your abilities as to
But we were perfect candidates for it.
Right.
They ain't doing it to everybody.
because you were black.
Right.
So
right.
be black and poor
When
and
we-
schools get more money.
Wow.
When we took our kids to register them, Tierra and David, our oldest 2, to register them for elementary school, we sat down with the counselor, and he went through and asked us what our address was. We told him our address. We lived on King James Way. And he said, "Oh, so is this an apartment house?" We said, "No, it's a house." He said, "A house? Are you sure?"
My
I said,
God.
Wow.
"Yeah, it's a house." He said, "King James Way?" He said, "Are you?" And he asked us about 3 times. He kept coming back. Said, "Now you live in a house?" We said, "Yeah, there are houses on King James because on one half of it is duplexes and apartments.
Right.
I said, well, the older half of King James Way are houses that are owned by families, and we're one.
So you must be ignorant as hell.
Oh,
He
my
should have
goodness.
taken your kids into custody immediately if you can't tell the difference between a house and living in an apartment.
Yes,
emergency.
we own that house. You want to see our mortgage?
And we don't need your food stamps.
Yes.
Take these food stamps back.
So it's crazy. So later on in that year, our kids had missed the bus, and we were going to go and pick them up. And the assistant principal said, "Let me hold your hand." Our assistant principal said, "Oh, we'll drop them off." Well, we realized they wanted to drop
See
them
your
off
house.
because they wanted to see where we were living. If
See,
we,
people don't think this stuff is real. This sounds like a Spike Lee segment of a
God.
movie. People really do this
We'll
stuff.
drop them off. They probably
Ignorant.
made them miss the bus.
oh my goodness! So
Wait,
yeah,
wait.
it was.
Now, this is funny. When I was growing up, when I started working at banks and stuff, people used to always ask me if I had a girlfriend and could they see a picture. And I wouldn't carry it. I remember after being married, I had one. And someone looked at it and they
What, a
said,
girlfriend?
somebody told me your wife was white. So all these years when people used to ask me to see a picture of who I was dating, they wanted to see if I was dating somebody. So it's so funny when people want to drop your kids off, or, oh, show me who you're dating. Oh, show me your kid. There's so many things that folks don't even know this crazy. This is like the crazy, subtle stuff. Y'all think we're dealing with Confederate flags. This is the subtle
Oh, my
stuff of
goodness.
progressive
Right.
people.
That's
But
crazy.
let me jump in and say that I think the one thing that's unique about me in this mix is that I actually raised my kids on the same street that I grew up on.
Yes.
Sure.
You know, right next door.
Yeah.
And in terms of that, I think the one big thing that was different was that Christian had friends in the neighborhood and Alexandra did not.
Her friends were connected to her school.
Her friends were connected to school. She did not have friends. Mom, I'm gonna go around the corner
Right.
to so and so's house, but Christian did.
Yeah.
You know, so but so that sense of that community that we had, we just be in the streets on Bell Street
Yeah.
or Fisher Street or on Bear Street playing.
Ride
with
my bike
friends
from
and
y'all's
stuff.
house.
Yeah.
Or taking
Or
a cab.
take a cab.
Yeah, she
902 Sequoia
definitely
Trail.
did not have that, and I felt like we pretty much had a sense of knowing or knew of almost every black person in Madison in some kind of way, and now I see so many people that I don't know, never seen, and I still don't get over the fact that they don't speak. Like that's how we grew up. You saw somebody black, you spoke,
You did.
Right.
and
right.
that's weird
the
to me.
head, you know, the little
Something.
You do your head,
Right.
right, right. You do. You know, David was talking earlier. You were talking earlier about we had a sense of community. I think another word of describing that is we had what we now refer to as black space.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
because like I can remember like going to school, and it was really diverse. Lincoln was really diverse. Leopold was you know, I was one of two black kids in the class all through middle school, elementary school. But Lincoln middle school was more diverse. But when we wanted community, like when we went to high school, we would not see each other in classes. Like you and I never had a class together in high school.
No.
But when we sit together at lunch, our white friends would ask, why do you only sit with your black friends? And so do your kids still experience that? You know, so if you're going to a school with a black population like 5 or 6%, we're all from the South Side. We were at the same special. Maybe that's what we call the bus
the
together.
special.
We call it the special. We catch up there by McGee's.
It wasn't
used to
the
be Dunkin'.
special bus,
It
but
wasn't a special
Right.
bus, but it was the special.
It was for some of you.
But we would play. You know, we would laugh and talk, do your mama jokes and stuff on the bus. Then we'd be diffused into this sea of white students,
Right.
and we did sports with them. We
Right.
we had fun with them.
Yeah.
But in the lunchroom, when we want to see each other, our friends from the South Side who we went to church with, we were related to.
Yep. We'd have lunch.
Yeah, we'd have lunch together. People would ask, and even
Why
wrote
do
a
all
book
the
about like
black kids sit together?
why do all the black kids?
But you know what?
But they're
Well, all
not
the white
asking
kids are
about,
sitting together.
Right.
They've always been sitting together.
Because white is normal.
Right.
Black and brown is abnormal.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, I think that's why Lincoln felt blacker than it actually was.
Lincoln was our middle school.
Because if you look at the school picture, it's very white.
Oh.
But I had a black feel to it because I think of the ways that we clustered.
Well, we had black teachers. Mr. Moore, we thought he was the
We had-
assistant principal. He was really
Right.
the minority coordinator.
Yeah.
He was really
It was,
fine.
It was he had that perfect afro. He did have
Yeah.
that perfect afro.
Mr. Moore.
Marion
Mr.
Moore.
Moore.
I know what you're talking about.
He was fine.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but it probably did feel, but it was in the South
you
Side,
wear
so it was in our
glasses?
neighborhood. Like David lived right across the street from Lincoln, so it
Right.
was close to like where black
and
kids.
was late every day.
You were
My
late every.
God.
You were late
That's
every
because you
day.
didn't want to go.
That's because you didn't go. That's because you.
I used to run to the Quick Mart before.
You should. That was late, and that was
Get
just the
some
day.
na-
That was the
get
day you
some
came.
annihilators.
That's right, David. That's because you're getting your hair pressed. You had to get that hot comb.
He had to get them pink
David,
rollers
wait,
up in
wait,
his
didn't
head.
You get burned by straightening a comb? Didn't somebody burn you with a straightening comb?
That was
Well,
me.
you know, just minor burns,
Like
when
right
they're doing
about
it. Yeah, but
But not like
you
like
know,
on your face and stuff like that.
You
And
got
so,
burned?
Yeah.
oh
I got
my
the scar.
goodness.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, you got burned good. That comb dropped. And so I'm just wondering if Madison is harder. Well, it sounds like it's harder to navigate for Black students
It is.
or our kids than it was for us, because like it's 50 years later, we're still friends. Will our kids be sitting down with someone who they have known? I mean, really, until we got married and started having kids, we were probably a part of each other's lives at least 2 or 3 times a week, if not more.
Yeah, but I just think generations just sort of change,
How
because
so?
we did all this stuff together. 'Cause to us, our parents always seem old,
Right.
and when our kids look at us like that, we're like, I'm not old.
I'm not old.
I'm still here. I still,
Your grandmama's
I can
old.
still, So it's a different, it's kind of we think that we can keep our kids from certain things, and so we try our best to protect them because of what we see. Because I kind of still see myself still in that kind of that time frame, even though I'm not really by age, but I still kind of
I
feel
know
like.
what you mean.
And so I want to protect my kids from that, but I know that I'm hurting them in a way because they're not able to experience, form relationships that we had in the neighborhood and things like that. Because when you look at it, if our kids followed the same pattern that we did, they would have spent more time together. Our kids,
Right.
Your kids, we did occasionally,
Right.
But our kids are not even as close as we were as kids,
Right.
So, and so you wonder how our kids, our grandkids,
Right.
will be,
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
if they're still in Madison, and how they would be if they know each other and things like
Right.
that.
Even like I was talking before the show, you are my oldest friend, and you have a grandson that's going to be a year, and
Yeah,
I haven't
you haven't
even
seen
him yet.
Yeah,
Not in person.
And we live in the same city.
yeah,
What the hell?
yeah. It's So
Yeah.
what? Why is that? I mean, that's a question. Look, I'm being the host now. Why is that?
I just think.
I think it's probably because you started your own church.
Well,
See. All right, let the Trump
Yeah.
stuff come out now.
but you know what? If we back up a little bit, I think
David used to be my assistant pastor, you all, for years.
when he started his own church.
And he started his
All right, I'm gonna start
church.
beating on the boxes in here.
And then we just didn't see the kids anymore.
That was it.
Think he kept them away.
But
That's another show. We should do a
that's
show.
another
right.
show. But I will say 2 things. One, our kids still a lot of times refer to them as cousin with each other.
Yeah.
Well, when your kids see me, they call me Uncle Alex.
Yep.
Yeah. And your kids call me,
And we teach
Auntie
them.
Lil.
And, we teach them that.
Yeah.
Sure.
It confused the kids as they was like,
Except Daniel.
yeah.
He's like, who are you? Excuse me, miss.
Daniel's my baby. He's my youngest. And
Daniel is you.
he is me.
Daniel is you.
He is me. I gotta say, he is me.
David was
Bless
the
his
bad kid
heart.
growing up. David was the kid that couldn't go out at
Bless his
recess.
heart. Is it commercial time?
David was the kid who would have a desk. David, you know what I think it was? You know what I think your problem was, David?
What?
I
Spoiled.
think you were spoiled. I
Yes.
think you were smart,
Being
and
the
I don't
youngest.
think the teachers captured your imagination.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. I mean, because you're sharp, and so but there's a connection. If you were a bad kid, you weren't smart.
Right.
And so because your desk was right next to the teachers, because you was always in trouble and saying naughty stuff, you would you just lived up there. It's like David, you went to lunch, you're like, I gotta erase the board. You were kind of like the male Cinderella, like you used to be clapping the eraser,
Put it out the fireplace.
He was drawing your socks. You had to clean the brushes and the art class. All this kind of stuff. They made you serve us lunch and everything.
You remember Miss Goodman used to give donuts to there used to be a time where kids used to get donuts.
Yes.
I remember I walked up in there thinking I was gonna get a donut. She said, "Oh, you don't get it."
That was a mean
That
old
hurt my
bitch.
feelings so
She
bad.
was mean.
Why did you think you were gonna get a donut? Because you sat
I
next to
wanted
her?
a donut and I was hungry.
But why would you do that to
You know how
kids?
greedy I was.
But why would you
You
do
were.
that to kids, greedy or not? Why would
She wanted to break people's
Listen,
spirits.
there are some people that I have come to know that I believe get into teaching because they actually hate children.
Wow.
You know, there's an assumption, oh, they love children, that's why no, they need victims. And Miss Goodman was one of those. That woman was mean and cruel.
She was.
But you know what? It's one thing. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's put her out there and Leopold. Her family might be listening.
But wait. Let me go just back for just a quick
She
second.
threw my desk all over Tarnation one day because it wasn't organized. She took it. She swung my desk like she was on a pole.
Oh.
I came in there and I saw paper still flying, like when when David on General Hospital tore up Laura's love letters and threw them up in the air. Y'all know. Anyways,
David.
Dear Laura.
This was Lou. Anyway, no. This is her boyfriend before Lou.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I came in there. My eraser was over by the window. My pencil was over here. She took my desk and just threw it all over the room because it wasn't clean.
Psychotic.
That's crazy.
I'm still traumatized by that. Go ahead, Alita.
So I think when we're talking about the changing of Madison, I think it's important to also understand that the changing of the mix. So when we were younger, you know, especially when we first came to Madison, we were one of few. Mm-hmm. And, you know, you're not afraid when there's just a few.
Who's not afraid?
White people aren't afraid when there's a few of us. Mm-hmm. But when the numbers start changing.
I mean, they doubled from like 80 something to 90s to 1980, 1990.
So when the numbers start changing, then the fears start coming out. And that's part of what we're seeing in America. What? Y'all had a black president? Oh, no. Right. They ain't taking over this country. Mm-hmm. So it's. I think we've seen that in this city, you know, whereas we were more tolerated, celebrated with more of a curiosity when we were young, you know, oh, bring your little black friend over, you know, type of a thing. That began to change at some point where we went from a curiosity to a nuisance. And I think that has something to do with kind of the changing feel that our kids are experiencing as well.
Yeah. Because our kids say they don't feel like they belong. I didn't feel like I didn't belong.
I didn't feel like that either. But Did you, David? No, I didn't feel like that at all.
Lilita, I know your kids have said that. Lexi has said when she was at UW, Dad, if I didn't have a scholarship, I wouldn't be here.
Tierra said the same thing.
She said, I feel like that they don't want me here.
But the
you
thing,
said your daughter?
Tierra felt,
Tierra
felt like that. My oldest daughter. She felt like that. But the thing of Tierra, she felt two disappointments. She felt the disappointment that, you know, she didn't fit, didn't belong. And I was like, girl, you were born here. Right. You belong in, this is your city.
Right.
And then the other thing was that and this is a whole nother subject, I mean, that we need to talk about, is that the other black students on the campus were not easy to, you know, integrate with.
Sure.
You know, people were like stuck up and, you know, all this. And I said, well, if you don't talk to them, they're going to think you're stuck up, you know.
Right.
And so it's this thing that you think somebody else is stuck up, you don't talk to them, they're thinking the same thing about you. So what is it on the campus that makes black people act like that?
And that changed too, because I was just telling Alexandra, my daughter, I was saying that when we were in college, if a black person didn't speak to you, they got talked about. Mm-hmm. Oh, so-and-so think they're so-and-so. Like, you were expected to greet, not to be friends, but to be friendly.
Yep.
See, I think what happened is we forget they come from larger cities. So people in Detroit, Chicago.
But they did back when we were in college.
Well, some of them did. But I remember students saying, when I came to Madison, the black students spoke to each other. So when I went back to Chicago, St. Louis, I see another black person say, what's up? They'd be like, what's up with you? So people would say they would be looked at funny when they would speak. So I think what happens is you get people who don't come from Madison and they're not used to speaking. Like folks in Chicago, larger cities, they don't just necessarily make eye contact to speak. They don't in New York. So you come to Madison, you don't think you're supposed to speak. But I do remember my white friend saying, do you know him? I said, no. Well, why'd you speak to him? I said, well,
it's what you do.
It's what you do. So they were so intrigued.
Sure
they was like,
you're okay.
Do black people know each other? But you want to know, you good?
Well, white people don't do it because they'd be going, hi, hi. In the grocery, hi. They would never get a conversation in.
That's right. They'd be like,
but it's weird because I watch
hi, Jesus.
But look, I watch other ethnicities sometime and see if they will speak or give any kind of look. And it surprised me that they don't.
They don't?
Yeah. Not for the ones out.
But we were kind of taught about being soul brothers and soul sisters. It is a matter of looking people in the eye and saying, "Are you okay? You good?
Right? You good? Is anybody chasing you right now?"
Because you're right. Because if we're going through a situation, if we see a black lady standing in the middle of the street screaming and crying and say, he took my pocketbook, he took my pocketbook. Black people gonna want to stop and say, wait, what happened, what happened? I don't know if other people feel that sense of commitment, unless they're kind of close to them or something like that.
I think oftentimes they won't. So like, for instance, I was at a
and I'm not saying white people don't care, but there's a
they
connection.
They don't feel responsible.
Right,
and
like
there's
if
a difference.
someone's being disrespected at a counter, like, just put your money on the counter.
Yes.
We want to walk over there and say, what's going on?
Right.
Like,
Especially if it's a kid.
If it's a kid.
But like, I was at a local grocery store, and I saw this black woman being followed by 2 white male employees. And I'm just watching because they were in plain clothes. I didn't know who they were, what was going on. And I ended up talking to the owner and said, look, let me tell you what this looked like. It looked like these men were harassing this woman, following her around, stalking her. And I said, I don't know what they think she stole, but I don't know if it's worth losing customers over seeing your employees following somebody around the parking lot. You know, and it was a black woman. It was my business. It became my business at that point. Yeah.
I hear you.
We do watch out for each other.
You got to.
That way, yeah.
You know?
Have you two felt pushback when you've advocated for your children in predominantly white schools? And Dave, I know this is interesting because your wife is an educator.
Yeah. Not all of my kids.
Which one?
Yes.
That Daniel.
Daniel. And that's and the reason why is because I think we got spoiled because my older 2, actually my older 3, Tierra, David, and Tiana they just
Think it fit?
They did school. They
did sports.
Daniel's the first kid that we had that got sent to a principal's office.
My God.
We've never.
Not even Tamia.
Not even Tamia.
Did he get that from Tracy?
But you know that's my girl.
No, he got it from me.
Yeah, I know you lived in the principal's office. You had a seat, you had a chair, and then a desk.
I had an office.
You answered the phone.
An office in
Hello?
He had a mailbox.
I had my own line.
Hello, Lincoln Middle School. This is Badass David.
I wasn't that bad at Lincoln now. Come on.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Wow.
So what was I saying?
Oh, but you said, but
Daniel was the first one.
Yeah, Daniel. And we felt it steaming up with Tamia. Because Tamia will.
She gonna say her mind.
She'll go toe to toe with you.
Yeah.
Wow. But Daniel, we've had to go to school and we've had to pull him out of class. We've had to take him in a room. He kicked the teacher at Capitol Land in kindergarten. He's in kindergarten, preschool. Kicked the teacher. We had to. It's like
I wish I had kicked Miss Goodman.
We weren't used to this. So I think so. We didn't get much pushback for our older kids, but for Daniel, like teachers say, "Oh, we wish we could clone David." David is he's such a great. We wish we clone Daniel. They're like, "Oh, he's a smart student."
Yeah, is there another one? We
like
hope there's not another.
They didn't want to clone
the
him.
last one? But I think the other layer of that is male, female. Where if a black student acts in any kind of a way that it can be construed as threatening or scary, then there's stuff that's put on. I've had white teachers talk about black boys in 4th and 5th grade like they're men.
Yeah.
So and then Daniel's getting tall too.
Yeah.
So I think that element comes with it. I don't think I got pushback, but what I didn't get was a lot of cooperation from teachers. Sometimes I did get pushback. When Alexandra was at Edgewood, there was this one teacher who had the Napoleon syndrome, who was her English teacher, and she had to write these poems. There were like 9 different types of poems she had to write. She made this chapbook, and the poems were heartfelt, beautiful, well thought from a child who had kept a lot of stuff inside. And he gave her F because she didn't have the iambic pentameter, whatever the rhythms and the right formulas for these poems. I was like, how you gonna give her an F? Well, because da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, look, little man, okay, so you can't do nothing for me. I went to the principal, and the principal changed her grade. Because I'm like, no, you're not. Now, you fail a kid who skips
I am Napoleon
school.
Bonaparte.
You fail a kid who doesn't do the work. You
Right.
do not fail a child who goes to class every day, turns in all the assignments.
Right.
And does
What
the
the
work.
hell is wrong with you?
Yeah, and does the work.
So I got her grade changed, but with Christian one time, when he was in 9th grade, I had a teacher meeting with his English teacher, and she told me in the meeting that he had called her a bitch. And at the time, I didn't believe her. I do now. In retrospect, I think he probably did at least once or twice. She probably was one. But, I'm just like, why didn't you call me and tell me that this happened? So I pushed back because I felt like, particularly with Christian, again, tall black boy, that there was a narrative already about him and what people expected and who they thought I was. And I was like, if he was having an issue, you should have contacted me because I would have checked him on it. Don't tell me 5 weeks later.
Well, remember during parent-teacher conference, you went in to see his English teacher, and she told you that he had not been coming to class for a month?
Yes.
And you said, well,
that's that same
a
bitch.
month.
She was a bitch.
You said
a month.
Yes.
She went to parent-teacher, well, I don't have a
Yes.
lot of information because Christian has not been coming.
Yes.
And you said, why didn't you call me? And
Right.
she didn't have an answer.
Plus, because
That means if he's roaming the hall or doing
Exactly.
something outside.
She ain't doing her job.
She's not. And this is the other thing. I think one of the worst things that happened to parent and teacher communication was Power School. It's called by different names in different school districts.
Infinite Campus, you mean that?
Right,
Yeah.
Infinite Campus, because there's an expectation that you check Power School. So that I don't need to talk to you because there's Power School. You can go see which assignments are missing, attendance, etc. But teachers don't keep that up to date.
What if they don't have a computer?
And what if you don't have a computer?
And
What
internet.
but even if you did have a computer and internet, these teachers aren't keeping it up to date, so it's not up to date information. Yeah, that was the same woman who told me that he called her a bitch, and I called her one too. I didn't say it to her face. I said it under my breath, that
Under
I
your
meant it
breath.
just the same.
I remember that Lexi had to turn in the paper, and we taught her to save them on the computer. And she asked the teacher 3 times, "You have not posted my grade. You have not posted my grade." So after the 3rd time, Jackie wrote the teacher and just said, "Hey, we need Lexi's grade put in." She wrote back, "Well, we prefer for students to fend for themselves."
This was middle school.
This is high school. We
Oh,
prefer
I thought
for
that was
kids.
Miss Bearwood.
But when I worked for the university, I had parents calling the chancellor's office. When I worked in the
Right.
chancellor's office, because their kids could not
Right.
get tickets to a football game.
Right.
You're going to call the chancellor.
Look,
But I can't call you and say you have not put my daughter's grade in
Look.
that she has sent, you lost, and then she sent
Right.
it twice again.
Oh my god!
but I had to get a talking to because Christian used to fend for Lexi if kids picked on her. Well, we really want Lexi, Christian not to do that. We want Lexi to fend for herself. I said, look, that is her cousin, and I'm never going to tell him not to look out for her.
How do you tell people not
And the
to
thing,
do that?
Right.
but see, this it's not just happening in classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening. It's happening in sports, where coaches are saying, we are emailing the kids directly, because we want they're not going to be in practice because they're sick. We want them to tell us. We're like, I'm the parent. They're in high school.
You don't
Right.
tell me what to do with
I'm
my kid.
you're
Right.
gonna hear it from me,
Right.
Because I don't know what you're writing to
Exactly.
them.
Right.
I was like, no, it's too much control.
Maybe I don't want you having my child's
Right.
email address.
Yeah. And sports is a whole nother
Right.
thing that
It's
is just
different,
taking
right?
over.
Right, because when we were kids, that was a ticket for a lot of black kids, particularly black girls. I still see a lot of black boys in sports, not like I would like to see, but I don't see the black girls like I used to see.
Lexi
Right.
had 70 girls on her track team, and 2 are black.
Yeah.
No way.
70 girls at the intro potluck. We count. I was there. 2 black girls, and she was
My
African.
God.
The other girl's African.
Wow.
And
And
one
that's the
biracial.
issue.
One lady
That's
biracial.
the issue for me, both
big issue.
physically, but that was the ticket to college for a lot of kids for us.
Yeah.
And so what's going on that our kids, but we didn't have all that specialty shit where like you had to be on this soccer team
Yeah.
or play this
AAU.
football and
It's
all that kind
AAU
of stuff. Where you had to
is a
pay for it
monster.
to be in it, and then the same coach that was your paid coach is now your high school
Yep.
coach, which he shouldn't be bringing his paid job over there into his paid job over here.
It's a mess.
It's a mess,
It's
and our kids get
AAU
eliminated.
Sports is that's a big money thing, and it's
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
It's a weed out too, isn't it?
It's a weed out.
Yes.
It's
A
a
lot
weed
of our
out.
folks are
Yes.
listening whose kids are in it.
Yep.
Like, but it's great. It keeps them
It's
busy in
right.
summer. But that's
No.
how many black kids are on those
Right.
teams.
Yep.
How
Right.
inclusive
Right.
is it? How affordable?
Right. And I
is
want
it?
people to stop talking about scholarships. I was at the school and the preachers were saying, well, but you know, we offer scholarships. I said, everybody doesn't want to have a scholarship.
That's not what's keeping people out.
But everybody doesn't want that feeling of I'm less than because I can't afford it, instead of having school activities or the sports stuff being free.
Right.
You know, give a donation if you want
if
to.
you get free and reduced lunch, you don't have to pay the fee.
Are you saying this is true, or are you saying it
No,
should
it's
be?
true. That's the way it is.
Oh,
Yeah, if you can X on the sheet, I receive free or reduced lunch, and then you're exempt from paying the sports
school-
fee.
the sports
Yeah.
Oh my! Let me ask you all one more question. Is Trump going to win in 2020?
I don't think so.
You think people have seen enough? Even
Yeah.
the white folks
Yeah.
the white.
I don't
evangelical
even
folks
think
that
he
elected
really
him?
won in 2016.
no, he didn't. You know them Russians won that for him.
So
No, he didn't.
I don't think he's going to win in 2020.
Let's ask the Russians if he's going to win. In 2020.
Let's
you
ask
know
Mac-
what?
Let's ask Mark Zuckerberg.
You know what? I think, honestly, I think Trump is not going to be around to run.
Wow,
That's what I think.
that's deep.
I just think there's so many indictments that are just bubbling over, and the looming of impeachment.
Oh, you mean he's going to be in jail? You're not saying somebody going to get him?
In jail,
Well, he can't be in jail until he loses.
right? Legally out. Yeah, I think he'll be impeached or something like that. I don't know. I think he could win.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with the Democrats, there's too many of those politicians in monkey suits right now.
yeah.
I mean, there's what, 24, 25,
I'm
30.
I
And I'm tired of old white men in politics. I'm sorry. I'm tired. We've done that. I like Biden because I think he is one person that could go toe to toe with him. But, and I'm not trying to be an ageist. I'm just saying, at some point, you got to pass the damn baton to somebody else. Because if at 70, how old is Biden? 75?
he's mid 70s, I think.
If at 75, there is no one that you have mentored that you could be supporting to run for president, you haven't done your job.
Well, politicians don't generally mentor people to
Because they're
take
seen
their
as
place
I
competition.
suppose.
because they look at it as a career now.
Right. I just, like, our senators, like, I just don't believe in lifetime.
I think both sides of the
Garbage.
aisles, the right,
It's
the left,
garbage.
in the middle. I think none of them to me is.
No.
I don't have trust in any of
Listen.
them.
I don't think honestly, I don't think any of them deeply care about. I shouldn't say any of them. Most that I've met or interacted with have not demonstrated a
Right.
care for our community.
Well,
How you can
you know
have a
what?
gubernatorial and senatorial elections in Wisconsin and not talk about mass incarceration,
Right.
the racial equity issues, the issues of disparity. How you can win and not talk about it. How you can be in office and not
I don't
wrestle
like
with these issues.
politicians.
I just
I think if you
think
did
it's sad.
I think if
Yeah.
we saw the
It's evil.
psychological evaluations
It
of
is.
most politicians, they would be on the narcissistic, psychopathic trajectory. They're about themselves. They're about. I just don't trust politicians, and I think the problem is we're putting too much power into politics. That's why I don't even care to talk about Trump that much. Like, what can we do in our own space, in our own sphere
City
of
council,
influence?
school
What-
board.
Your own family, your family. What can you do? What are you talking about at your dinner table? You know, what are you ignoring at your mama's dinner table when y'all go there for Thanksgiving? So I just think there's more individually that we need to take power of in our
You're right,
communities.
because you can't not talk to your mama about Trump,
Right.
and then come and cry to me and say,
Right.
"I can't believe he got elected again."
Exactly.
And you know you got cousins and sisters in them that
Exactly.
are voting for them, and you're
But
not
I really,
checking them.
But honest to God, and I think this helps us with the narrative if we just really, 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 really knew. I don't think Trump won. I don't.
I don't think he won either.
I think that the Russians did that for him. I really, really do. And
Because he didn't win the popular vote.
No, he didn't.
And
I
all
don't-
that electoral college
Right.
stuff.
That stuff
they
can be really
cheated.
monkeyed
Oh,
with.
yeah.
And for me, honest to God, I voted for my dead grandmama for president. You know, and as bad as Trump is, for me, I really believe the country would have been in a worse place had Hillary won. I really do. I think the Clintons are very questionable about their ethics. They didn't know too many people who have died in plane crashes. It's not statistically probable that 2 people know that many people. I don't trust them. I don't trust them. So I think this is a purging that we needed as a country, because I believe a lot of us have believed that we were further ahead. Us black people have believed that we were further ahead than we
sometimes
are.
you need the wake
we
up
needed
call.
this. We needed this wake up call because none of the politicians are for it.
And-
not even Obama. And I like Obama. That he got swag. Obama's a politician. I don't trust any politician. Not like that. Not especially when they get to that certain level. Now, local politicians is different.
Right.
But when you get to those certain levels, you're not even true to yourself. So how are you going to be true to me?
Oh.
Well, it's a bigger stage, and it's a
Right.
bigger compromise, and
it's the most powerful position
and it's
in the
bigger
world.
money,
And somebody
it's
else
bigger
is
support.
deciding it. Because if you want me to believe that President Obama just miraculously won the vote, I don't believe that. Somebody said, the powers that be said, let's elect this black man, and they were sure not to elect a black man that was a descendant of a slave. You better believe that has something to do with it.
We went out and voted.
You better we went out and voted. Yes,
We went
did.
out and voted.
But the fact that President Obama even was on the ticket 2 years before that, we didn't even know who that man was.
Right, but he rose.
No,
he rose
no,
to the
no,
rose to the political stage,
No,
popularity.
no. Somebody
and he
else
became-
decided
there were
that
no
we
other
needed to have a
Democrats.
black president. They chose him, and it was very particular that he was not
The
a
people
descendant.
chose him.
It was very particular that he was not a descendant of slave. You better know
The
that has something to do with it.
Voted.
Isn't he a distant cousin of
we
Cheney?
went out.
He's related to Cheney.
He's related to Dick
He's-
Cheney.
yes, he and
Who
Dick
is?
Cheney are
Obama.
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 And if you start looking, you will see that many American presidents are related.
Yeah.
Many. So that says to me, we're not even, we think we're voting for them. Our vote, to me, does not count for president.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say
It
that.
doesn't.
Don't
It
say that
doesn't.
on,
Especially
don't say that
electoral
on the
college.
show.
No, because
We'll edit it
because
out.
we keep telling black people vote for what? For
Well, then why do
who?
you vote?
The same thing.
But
Some-
but votes. I mean, I'm saying.
Yeah,
But if you
so
just
why
say
do you
don't
vote
then
I
who-
didn't
Why
say
go
don't
out?
vote.
Why go out and vote then if it doesn't count?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. If there is not anybody on either ticket that I feel, particularly locally, that is going to impact my life in any way, I don't. What I do try to do is support people who are of diverse backgrounds who want to run for politics, because we have believed the lie as black people that our vote means something. Our vote means nothing if all we do is keep electing people who get in office who don't give a damn about us. Until we start getting people in office who represent us
true.
and our cause, our vote doesn't mean anything. So what we need
So
to
does
start doing,
anyone's vote mean anything?
white people's vote means something. But what we need to start doing, I think in general, I don't think anybody elects the president. Somebody else, the powers that be that
The
we know
electoral college
nothing, the powers
elects
that
the
be,
president, not the votes.
the powers that be,
That
it
might
is
be what she's saying.
statistically
Electoral
statistically
colleges.
impossible that if we are really a democratic country, that 2 families could rule this country for 30 years. It is statistically impossible in a democratic society that a father and a son could both be elected as president. That's statistically improbable. It's just, when you think about all the Americans, all the people that can run, that a father and a son, that the Bushes and Clintons ran this country for 30 years, that is no longer democracy.
Clintons.
The Clintons,
8
Bill
years.
Clinton, no, when you count up the numbers from when Bush Sr. was vice president until when Clinton finished his second presidency, either a Bush or a Clinton was in the White House for 28 years. That's not
Well, let's keep voting
democracy.
until we figure it out.
No, let's start supporting diversity in folks
'Cause if
who
we
are
don't vote-
running.
Yeah, because if we don't vote, then that affects local politics. That affects it all. So,
And I think you voted all of them, but I hear saying about on a federal level, like for president.
but just
you gotta
in
vote
general,
because you got to
in
vote for
general,
school boards. But
in general,
different
because
people-
if we keep voting
but you're not
for,
saying don't. You're not saying don't go
I'm
out to
just
the ballot.
saying, I'm not believing the hype that there's something magical about a vote.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing magical about a vote. What becomes magical
Is the
when
ballot.
people are in office that care about everybody.
Sure. No, that makes sense.
That's magic.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
And well, to me, it's not the politician that's going to make the difference.
Right.
It's the residents, it's community.
Absolutely.
It's people, it's organizations, nonprofits,
And all of that is more powerful than a vote. But
Yeah.
if people just believe, oh, I cast my vote, I've done my civic duty. No, you haven't.
No.
We have to get involved.
You got to get involved. You got to get on committees. You got to get on
And you got to support people that are trying to run. You got to give money to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You got to get a chance to support them. I had a friend come to my office who wants to help start a voter registration act, and he's white, and he just said, Alex, I'm just so frustrated. So I want to come and help black people vote. I want to drive them to the polls. I want to do something. And I said, can I ask you a question? Why do you care about black people voting now? Because we talked about mass incarceration. We talked about black men being shot by police and white men being shot by police and black women raising children by themselves. You weren't listening.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're tired of Trump. And you realize, I need the black people to vote. Now you want to drive me and my black friends to the poll, but you don't want to drive nobody to the grocery store.
Who
you don't
drove
wanna
your
drive,
white wife to the
right,
poll when she
right.
voted for Trump?
Right. Somebody drove up. So now you want us to come out and vote. So you're right.
She drove herself.
So people want you to get out to vote because they're assuming you're going to vote a particular way.
Right.
But we do have to demand for somebody that's going to be looking out for us. I think that's some deep truth. Listen, you all, I want to do this. I want to do this again. This segment is fun. No, because I like the free flow, because we're not just talking about your book or paper, your ministry, your work. And I want my listeners to be able to hear what it's like when old friends sit around eating pizza and drinking murky water.
Only water. It would have been a more
Trying to
interesting
eat
conversation
pizza.
if we had some rum shots.
You know, we might do that next time.
Look,
Yes.
I'm eating pizza.
We said that we didn't want to hear that on the microphone.
all dry and cold
You
and
know what?
crusty.
That's good. You know what? So you did that anyway. I asked you not to eat pizza on my show. You know what? I hope you shart at a Walmart
Wow.
on the way home.
Wow.
That's an inside joke. We're talking about a near failure.
Wow.
A near failure where David almost defecated in a urinal.
Did he want that on air?
Huh?
Did he want that on air?
We can edit it out, but if it stays, David don't care. The one thing I know about David Smith, he has very little shame.
My family knows about it, so
They know. David, you walked in at the urinal and you was about to go, but they had plastic
I
covering
had
it.
plastic covering it.
You said, David, what I love is David said he was like that woman in Bridesmaids. Was that Maya Rudolph? Is that her name? When she's walking across the street, goes, this is really happening. You almost sat on the floor and pooed
right there. And I left out of the bathroom, and I almost thought I was gonna have to just squat on the floor and just
Because everybody else,
I'm going to the women's bathroom.
You can come here and go to the women's bathroom because you use the bathroom that bad.
I sure was. I've had to push a lady out, get out, move out the way.
And so you left Walmart, went to another place.
I did. I was able to push it back.
No, suck it in.
Call it home.
Wait, David, that's you had to work that core. That core muscle.
Hey.
Oh my God.
That's gross, David. But I'm glad you made it. You made it. You made it to a
I
coffee
made the
shop.
Starbucks and. Yeah,
and that's nice because those are single stalls. You can have some of them, so you can just have privacy.
No, it was just the bathroom. Went and locked the door. Nobody can bother me.
I'm gonna tell y'all off air what happened to me one time at a Rocky Rococo.
Oh, why off air?
Because she's got a vote in this community,
Right?
And she don't want it. Oh my goodness! Listen, you all. I appreciate these folks I've known my entire life. My sister Lilada, my friend David, just in here talking about life, politics, kids. This is so important because what listeners will find is that there's some things that we look at in a completely different way, but then there's some things that we have in common. And it's just good to know that we like to sit around and laugh and talk about old times and dream about better times. But it's just nice to be able to shoot the breeze with you all. And I hope that from time to time we can do this. As hot topics come up, we can just have this little blackout segment where we don't have to worry about being censored or squelched. We can just talk about things that we really think and that we feel about this community. And about life and about this country. I appreciate you all coming. So you all, this has been another very thought-provoking and interesting and somewhat different episode of Black Like Me Podcast. Hey, I appreciate you all for being a part of our family. Appreciate you all checking out Patreon. That Patreon list is growing. And I just always want to remind us, West Virginia, North Dakota, South Dakota, what the hell are y'all doing? Download an episode so we can take over this whole country. All right, let's do that soon. Let's do that this week. All right, take care. Always subscribe, listen, enjoy, learn, share. I want to thank Corey Saffold for creating the music for this podcast, my podcast manager, Tyler Nyland, engineer and editor, Eli Steenlich, my editor, Jeremy Holliday, and a special thank you to WORT Studios, where we record Black Like Me.
Ooh, black like me.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. You can find out more about Dr. Alex Gee's amazing work at www.alexgee.com. Black Like Me is sponsored by the generosity of the Human Family Unity Foundation.